Epic Assemble! Austin Fletcher.
Tina never joins us on that.
I was doing it before he. I was doing it. He was laughing. Mother.
Welcome to the Epoch Podcast, your weekly dose of mental foreplay, where we have conversations worth having. My name's Matt.
I'm Jen.
I'm Austin.
I'm Joni.
I'm Christina.
I'm David.
And this week is a mostly monthly episode, and we are kind of hitting some pretty cool topics this week. So let's jump right into it with 5G. Let's go.
Oh,
Hi.
5G. So, shoot, I was going to look up when we think this is all going to go down. I think it's like this year, next year, something like that. I forget, but I prepared this topic a while back. 5G, so it's the next thing in phones and whatnot.
In G's.
Yep, in G's. It's the after 4G.
Oh, okay.
I'm OG.
Thanks for.
And I'm a little tiny bit concerned about it. And the reason that I started thinking about it, I guess, is because back in the day when I was preparing this topic originally, I was looking into AR, augmented reality, because I find it intriguing, and it's going to be taking over our lives at some point, probably sooner than later, and being implemented into just everything in very interesting and intriguing ways.
Like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, exactly. So Pokemon Go is a good example of kind of, base level AR stuff. The first thing that I came across that led me down this path was hologram preachers, which I guess has been a thing for a long time.
Preachers?
And, yeah.
Preachers or creatures?
Preachers.
Okay.
Apparently this
That
came
seems
around.
like the most logical use of holograms.
Right.
Right? Like when I think, multi-site.
Well, think
clearly
about
they're going
Obi-Wan.
Well,
Yeah. So this kind of thing has been around for a long time, but hasn't been super implemented, I guess. Like I saw a really old concert, people performing in concert with holograms.
Like Michael Jackson, I think was one. And who else has done?
Well, yeah, but just like average people were also
Like when you say hologram, is it like the 3D like picture that's right in there? A hologram, like it's on a screen.
I think it's
re-digitalized. Someone who's
somewhat. I don't know if it's all been the same way, but 5G is going to lead the way for this to become much more commonplace, I guess. For example, so one of the things that is being talked about is commercials, or ads, I guess I should say. Like when you go in stores, like you kind of become part of the ad and stuff like that. I saw a video of, I guess
Is it like
an imagined
on Superstore that little old lady?
So maybe a little bit like that, but in general, like it can project out, so you can kind of be in the ad. And like I saw a video of course in Japan, it seems like they always have this kind of stuff sooner, but like just so full everywhere of stuff trying to get your attention. So imagine I don't know, was it in the 90s, I guess, when websites were crazy blinky everywhere? But imagine that projected out into real life, perhaps.
Well, do you have to wear Snapchat glasses to see this stuff, or how is this?
Snapchat glasses.
Well,
They were a thing.
were they?
Isn't there something like that in Back to the Future? What is it?
Totally.
Oh,
Which one is the second
Yeah,
one?
is
Where
it
he's
Jaws?
walking and all of a sudden something just kind of at him and he's like, what the crap?
Thought it was Jaws.
Can you imagine, we haven't done adequate enough research on the effects of the emotional effects, the psychological effects of all of the social media that we're doing, and then just to put it in 3D, like we already are a nation full of anxiety and panic and whoa, and can you just imagine having some 3D creature or advertisement coming at you, or all these blinking lights, and now we have all these children who can't have any kind of attention because it's just like on their face.
You want to research that? Boring.
The research is already showing that like it's not good. It's not good like for us.
Advertising is specifically designed to get a chemical reaction. Right? I mean, they change the colors, they change the smells. I mean, they do anything they can to get you to respond with some sort of an addictive response. Definitely. And so it's just going to up the ante. Have you guys ever saw that one game that one movie that came out about the game, the virtual reality game?
Ender's Game.
No.
That's a good one.
Player One?
Player One. Thank you. Ready Player One. And do you remember the bad guy in there? And that he was trying to take over the Oasis? And what he wanted to do was, in one of the meetings with the board, he said, we've done studies and we can take up to 80% of the player's visual screen with ads before inducing a seizure. And so because it was like an ad-free experience, and he wanted to own the Oasis so that he could start doing advertisements on people's thing, and they had done studies on how much they could do before people would die, essentially.
Wow.
But that's the thing.
No, it's totally a thing. And I think I've probably bored Jen with this a bunch of times, so I'll bore everybody else now that's listening.
Oh, I know where it's coming. 4 times now.
Yeah, so back when McDonald's was getting started up, they went with red and yellow because they wanted to get people in and out. They didn't want them to stay. And so when our brains see red and yellow, it starts saying, hey, triggers, there's danger, get out. It's not like you're thinking, oh, Ronald McDonald's dangerous. Maybe you are, but
he's a clown.
Right? But the red and yellow is definitely sending triggers, and so how far we've come.
Chairs, and they create the entire atmosphere to get you in and out.
Versus other restaurants that want you to buy more alcohol and stuff, so they're dark, they're brown, they're warm. Yeah.
Casinos,
which is interesting because that's what color McDonald's is now.
Interesting. It's true.
Because they want you to stay.
They've done their cafes and their coffee and
and they are also a real estate company. So there you go.
Yes.
Full circle.
I don't think we talked about that online.
So
that was pre-meeting.
Can you tie in how the 5G then works with these ads?
Okay, so it's really just because it enables the higher speeds and the greater bandwidth and stuff.
So how's a hologram made? Is it?
Well, I didn't do that much research.
No, I'm just curious.
Is
it like that the little thing that your brother had the other day that you put on top of your phone? And
it's like that video game you could play in the arcade back in the day with the cowboy and the Indian, and you had the little dome over the top of it, and if you made the wrong choice, you lost a quarter basically. Okay, I'm alone on that one, but all right.
Yep.
All right, I don't remember that at all.
Definitely a thing.
But there are lamps and stuff that you can get, cheap lamps that project a 3D image out above them and stuff. It's becoming more and more prevalent.
Have you seen anything about the microwaves with 5G?
So
microwaves.
Mm-hmm. Not like cooking your kitchen microwaves, but the actual waves that 5G uses.
That was one of the things that I was concerned about because the millimeter waves. They are shorter. They can't go as far. They don't travel well through buildings. They're a higher frequency. They tend to be absorbed by rain and plants.
Ooh.
They are basically, in my opinion, it's kind of concerning what kind of effect that they're going to have on them.
Maybe those waves contain a frequency of love for those plants, and so just are
these all man-made? Is there any natural form of 5G? I don't understand how it fully works, but is this fully man-made? So it's putting something new into our atmosphere.
This is what I don't technically understand either. It's just accessing waves that are already there, to my knowledge or my
But
understanding.
multiplying them, I'm sure.
Right? But it's
And amplifying.
amplifying them.
it's right. It's like utilizing.
But what do you mean that they're already there? They're being
Well, the
produced
frequencies. Okay.
by your phone and your phone.
Whether they're natural or not, it's not really. I mean, radioactivity is natural.
Sure.
Right.
We don't amplify it.
Right. That's what I mean. It's like it's the natural whatever frequencies, but it's being manipulated, I guess.
So why are they moving to a 5G? What's the benefit?
Because it's much faster, like insanely faster. I don't think
It's
I
a
have it
lot. It's
written
I
down,
forget.
but it's
Christina's brother was telling me
it's very
something from like
different.
20 megs to 500.
The kids were saying
like that.
something today, actually, and I don't know exactly what they're talking about, but something about like 18 movies in a couple minutes being downloaded.
Is that
or
what they were
something
talking
crazy.
about?
Yeah, I don't know
I
if it's-
think maybe for future planning, there'd be a great conversation on high speed in general and just the inequalities of it or how certain companies manipulate the market.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll write that down.
We
And
can't
so-
get
so on-
fiber in our town.
On a fun note, just quick Google here. It says that basically 5G is about 20 times faster than
Mhm.
4G. So if you're looking at 1 gig on 4G, you're going to get 20 gigs in the same time on 5G. I'll take
Wow.
that for cooking my brain. It's all good.
Yes.
Right?
And so
Worth it to get those
If
videos
that's
down.
what you believe.
beyond
Thing is, they'll still charge you per meg.
I'm on unlimited data, bro.
No,
I live in the future.
never mind then. But is it truly unlimited?
Yeah.
Do you have a cap?
No,
No cap.
no cap.
he's in a free zone, apparently.
I see.
So beyond just
Discrimination.
augmented reality, it also will make the Internet of Things a much more commonplace thing. So
Dude,
like
my-
the Internet of Things is basically just like everything being connected to the internet and being like smart and that kind of thing.
I'm going to have my toaster mining cryptocurrency. It's going to be
Right?
awesome.
Yeah. That kind of crazy.
How much did your computer generate today?
So what we're concerned about though is the term would be
I'm at your
electrosmog.
refrigerator.
Oh, electrosmog. That's
Let's
That
go.
sounds
sexy
fancy.
sounding, yeah.
That sounds like a whole episode.
because of the nature of the millimeter waves being shorter, not being able to go as far and such, the antennas are smaller, but you have to have like a bajillion of them basically. So they're going to be everywhere, and it's not going to be possible really to avoid exposure, which is part of the concern.
Do you guys remember Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? Maybe it's Bogus Journey, but basically like the people in the future, how they were dressed in like big blocky clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
maybe they're like
windbreaker.
wearing Faraday cages, and that's why they're clothing.
That's
I
it.
was watching one of Ben Greenfield's podcasts with Joe Rogan, and he was saying that actually Wi-Fi, and I can't remember exactly what component of your body it was affecting, but it was one that measured fatigue. Matt, help me out here.
Sorry, dude.
Anyways,
The one Joe Rogan one he did.
yes, come on, Matt, let me down, dude.
Dude, I have been jamming that one with Ben Laser. Oh no, the UFO guy, the Area 51 guy, like for like a
Oh
week now.
gosh, yes, yeah.
Which one is it? Darn
I
it!
think it's Lazar.
I
There
was
we
mowing
go.
today.
Ah,
I
that
could have
sounds
listened to it. Anyways, so what he was saying is apparently the Apple Watch can tell you what level this is, and he used it to measure whether he should work out or not, more so than how he felt, because it was actually a metric that would tell you how much your body had how much it had expended in your previous workout and whether it had recuperated or not. But what he was saying is that actually that Wi-Fi has an effect on that metric in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they go dark at night. Like he completely turns everything off, shuts all electronics and whatever would be causing any sort of radio waves, and they go completely dark at night. I thought that was kind of an interesting thought. And if it is indeed like, if it does cause an effect on your body, then like,
I try to get my phone away from me when I sleep. I kind of like plug
Yeah,
it in
but
and then
it's
kind of
still
like
emitting things.
sling it over as far as the cord will go.
away.
But
Do you turn it on airplane mode or just move it
I
away?
should, but that's hard.
Is it?
Well, and I think like even
Like-
with our children, like our daughter and the way her bed was positioned in our house and whatever electronical device was on the outside of the wall, like we moved it, and I feel like there's been some, because she kind of can be a night owl, and I don't know if that's
Yeah,
biological or
and
hereditary.
and not that she's super close to it, but her bed was on the side of the room closest to the smart meter, the electricity meter on the outside of the house. So we made it a point to move it away from that. And I don't know if she just kind of grew out of the sleep issue or not. Or if
She's just quieter
that was
now.
a
We
part
don't
of
know
it.
she's up
Yeah,
all
right.
night.
She got smarter.
I don't know. I think
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know. I mean, it's been something that I've been mildly or subconsciously concerned about for a while. Just all that kind of stuff that's interacting with our bodies in ways that we don't
I mean, it's
really.
technically radiation.
Yeah.
Well, corporations would never do anything against your best interest. So
Right.
And the
so
government would protect
I don't
us,
know why I'm
so don't worry
concerned.
about it.
FCC is definitely in your corner.
FCC, totally. I was going to ask, because I mean, is there a threshold that they follow? You know, do
Well-
they even look at this kind of stuff?
So part of the issue is
I'm sure they
that
do.
the studies that are being done for 5G
Sure.
to make everyone feel fine and safe, they're not using pulsed millimeter waves in these studies, but the 5G that will be used for phones and stuff will be using pulsed millimeter waves, which I don't really know exactly how that plays out, but it's definitely different. So the studies are not really particularly valid, or they're misleading.
Well,
Do they have an estimate on what the? Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was just saying, who's doing the studies? It's usually the company
I
that's
can.
set the.
I mean, there's a couple different
AT&T.
kinds of studies, I'm sure. But yeah, that's always obviously part of the issue as well. But
Smoking doesn't harm you. You should smoke when you're pregnant. Good for the baby.
right?
Drink Coke to put your kids to bed. The
previous
perfect before bed
studies-
snack.
Previous studies show how pulse rates of the frequencies lead to gene toxicity and DNA strand breaks. There's a Dr. Ben Ishai of Hebrew University in Israel says that our sweat ducts act like, quote, an array of helical antennas when exposed to these wavelengths, which basically means we become more conductive. And it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of concerning sounding things. But I'll end with this. Apparently, 5G radiation is already used in crowd control. The
I'm
5G,
surprised there.
the 5G frequencies, which will soon be blanketing our neighborhoods, I'm reading this obviously, have been under development for a number of years by defense agencies, including the US, Russian, and Chinese, as a means of crowd control. The US Army uses millimeter waves in crowd dispersal guns called active denial systems. And Dr. Benishai explains, if you're unlucky enough to be standing there when it hits you, you'll feel like your body is on fire. So I don't know. I don't claim to understand how all these things work, but it sounds to me like it could be utilized in a somewhat scary fashion.
Did they have any suggestions on how to counteract or how to avoid it, or is it just in the air and it's
Mithril
unavoidable?
armor. There we go.
Well,
Mhm.
I think, I mean, that's one of the things that we're saying is that it's really difficult. It's going to be really difficult to avoid just because of the nature of the waves and how they have to have
Mhm. things
very close proximity. So I'm sure they're going to come up with some ideas, but at this point, I don't know.
I feel like I just saw a tweet from Elon Musk not too long ago where they're basically setting up a 5G satellite. So It's gonna be everywhere.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Mom.
I think it's kind of inevitable. I'm sure there's going to be lots of quacky ways to do stuff. That
Right.
they work or not, but.
I mean, obviously, there's the controlling the mindless masses. Were there any other specific health side effects that they anticipate?
Here, yeah, let me see here.
That just microwaves magnified.
I'll link in my article, but there's there's 11 different things that, well, okay, they're not all human. Like, they're concerned about disruption of the natural ecosystem, effects of the atmosphere, and depletion of fossil fuels. There's a picture actually of plants exposed to frequencies that doesn't look good. Effects on bacteria resistance, effects on cell growth rates, immune system effects, effects on the heart, effects on the eyes, lens opacity, aka cataracts, I guess. The skin was apparently one of the bigger things, and the electrosmog in general, but
So
yeah,
can I get some SPF with 5G?
All right.
Well, and to me, it kind of just makes me want to dig into kind of that spiritual muscle and how do I set up my radiance, my aura to protect myself? How do I tune into my body so I'm not dependent on a device telling me when I should go to sleep and when I should exercise and if I've consumed enough calories but I'm connecting in my body and can say, hey, I am not in a good spot right now. I need to move. Like the last couple of days, I'm like, I need to consume blueberries. I don't know why, but I'm not craving them. It's just my body's like, eat blueberries. So having that connection with your body and communicating, I think, is just one more reason, like, this is coming. How can I sharpen my own tools to be ready for that battle?
I think it's so interesting how like different you and I are on that one, in the sense that I'm not against anything that you just said, other than like I appreciate the extra empirical data. Like if I can have some data that says, hey, like you didn't fully recover last night, like you didn't get the deep sleep that would show that you are ready to rock today. Maybe take it a little easier on this workout. Like that's useful information for me. Not that I'm necessarily going to follow it, but to have it's nice.
I guess I would just listen to my body and feel it and know it and be like, okay, this is where I need to go. So my feeler is my rings.
Sometimes it's nice to have an unbiased third party. Just saying. And then I would go
each their own.
I would go to Joni and be like, Joni, I need some essential oils for the 5Gs.
Right. Essential oils are so last year.
Oh.
Now it's
last
CBD.
year. Now
No, that's
everything is CBD oil.
Well,
So that's
please-
like
please-
one oil for all the oils? Is that?
It's one oil to rule them all.
everybody together now. So why didn't you enlighten us on this?
Well, what got me into this is I was literally seeing it from at the coffee shop, you could get it in your coffee, to the gas station, to health food stores, to the grocery store, to video stores, seeing it everywhere. And then I got a testimonial from one of my coworkers who was having a lot of pain and said, she's like, I tried the CBD oil, and she was almost in tears because it just changed her life literally overnight. And then I got a text from a friend of a friend that said she was in this multi-level marketing thing. She's like, you got to try this. I'm like, okay, this is not going away. So what's the big deal with all this? So I started looking into it, and CBD is short for cannabidiol or cannabidol, that different people pronounce it different ways, but it's a derivative of hemp. Not to be confused with THC, which is the hallucinogenic part of marijuana, but this is CBD, and we've known about CBD since about 1940s, and closer to 1960s it started to become researched, which that was right about when marijuana started to become popular in the United States. And in 1988 it was discovered that we actually have an entire system in our body called the endocannabinoid system. That's the largest system of receptors in our body that are actually pretty much designed to receive cannabinoids. And so what do they do for our body? It's pretty much, some people kind of call it the cure-all of everything. They're talking about skin conditions, sleep disorders, PTSD, schizophrenia, asthma, bipolar, heart disease, glaucoma.
Let's say AIDS. This has AIDS in there.
AIDS, cancer,
Cancer.
Parkinson's,
ALS.
obesity. The list kind of goes on and on. And the reason is because these receptors are throughout your entire body. So it literally can affect every part of your body. Some of the biggest things people take it for, though, are sleep, stress, pain is a really big one, cancer, and actually helping your brain recover. It can actually restore neurofunction in your brain. So those are some of the big things that people are taking it for.
So I think we just found our anti-5G.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, it's a placebo thing, right? We can call it that.
Right.
Believe it.
I can definitely, vouch at least, I guess, second party on this one. My dad, shout out to the big guy here, started using CBD oil, I don't know, in the last year or so, just to get off of painkillers. And
That's a big one.
and he loves it. Like I won't say anything on the radio, but he loves it a lot.
So is this something, because I was interested when we're doing our pre-note shows.
Show notes.
Yep.
There
Before
you
the
go.
show.
So before the show, when we were talking about it, because it's something that as I go to the grocery store,
Sure.
all of a sudden there's all of these CBD merchandise, and it's like in this locked cage thing, and I'm just like, I automatically assume, like, are they just now selling marijuana in the grocery store? Because why would you lock it up if it's not that? And then if I were to buy the cream, I kind of assume it's kind of like a Bengay kind of thing where I rub it on my shoulder. Can I do that at work? Can I go drive? Like, those are the questions that I haven't researched.
And we get it at the pet store too for the pups. Little anxiety.
Yeah, it's big for animals.
Huh.
Actually, I learned that anything with a vertebrae has an endocannabinoid system.
What?
So you can use it for animals.
No way.
They have just as many receptors for it. So literally, these animals are made for this, to receive this. And there was a study that showed most major diseases in conjunction with that was actually a depletion of cannabinoids in your body. So you can actually be deficient in cannabinoids. So that's one. But to answer your question, Jen, one of the reasons they're locked up is they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the main reasons. I just bought a 4-ounce bottle and it was close to $200.
What?
It also, it depends on the strength. And that's the other thing, is that it's not regulated at all right now. So that's part of the reason why it's so popular, is that it's not regulated. So anybody
who knows what you're
can do
getting?
it. Exactly. Anyone can do anything. The other reason it's so popular is, I believe, because it works, but it is an unregulated system.
So I've read that for like your endocannabinoid system, having like a tiny percentage of like THC is helpful in the uptake of it. Did you come across that, or am I just blowing smoke?
I did. A lot of people were even going as far as saying having a 1-to-1 ratio of THC CBD.
Whoa.
Now, when you buy CBD oil, it can have up to a 0.3% THC naturally in it. After that, it's illegal. So it can have a little bit. If you get like a full spectrum, it's probably going to have a trace amount of THC in it.
Because they're putting in it, or if it's naturally.
It's
just
part of the
combined.
plant. So yeah, naturally the hemp plant has kind of that ratio. But if you can get like marijuana that the THC is taken out and all you're left with is the CBD. It's like I said, there's a lot of variables in it.
Yeah, we just watched a documentary on pot specifically. And there's a lot of modern day pot is like 14-to-1 with THC. So
Yeah, it's pretty Frankenstein there.
Yeah, it's pretty potent on the other side. But yeah, it's the CBD is essentially, the potheads that are like, whoa, dude, and just chill. Right. And then there's
I do not know those people.
You don't know this. So there's like the chill version of potheads, and then there's the kind of the more mental, like deep thought, and the kind of more of an upper versus a downer. CBD is that chill, relaxed version THC is the more the upper high thought kind of version.
So there are two kinds of receptors, CB receptors in your body. There's CB1 and CB2.
Ooh.
CB1 receptors are primarily for THC, and they are in your brain and spinal column. So it is that hallucinogenic, high that you get. Those receptors are in your brain and in your spinal column. The CB2 receptors are all over your body, everywhere actually except your lungs, which is why you can't overdose. Because with opioids, they actually affect your lungs, and that's when you overdose, you stop breathing. But with CBD, you actually can't overdose on it because it's actually, those receptors aren't in your lungs, but they're everywhere else in your body. So that's how you can receive the benefit from a small amount of THC and CBD, because your body has receptors for both.
That's so interesting.
The more you know. Thank you, Joni. That was awesome.
So you said something though about, I think I missed part of what you said, but something about the receptors. What did you call it?
Cannabinoid?
The endocannabinoid.
Yeah, and you said something about it. You can have a deficiency in that.
Yeah, so part of what it does, the cannabinoid, I keep saying it, cannabinoids. Part of what they do is your body produces serotonin, and so the serotonin floods your body and does its great serotonin thing, and then your receptors regulate how much serotonin's in your body, and they'll say, okay, you've had enough, and they start actually reabsorbing it. But what the cannabinoids do is they actually delay or halt that reabsorption. So the serotonin stays in your body, which is part of how you get that feel-good feeling, which is where you can get rid of anxiety, get rid of some of the PTSD. And it also affects your brain. It actually helps you forget things that your brain doesn't need. So that can decrease your anxiety because you're not remembering the same thing and playing the same thing over and over and over in your mind.
Forever or just in that time frame?
I mean, it doesn't make you like
Erase it.
it doesn't erase it, but it just brings everything down a notch. And it's actually an adaptogen. So it's not going to just power through like drugs do and make your body do something. It's going to go to where it needs to go, and it's going to put you in this homeostasis. It's going to get your body where it needs to be, which is a lot like essential oils. They do the same thing. They're not going to power through and force your body to do something. They're going to just put you in a balanced state and bring you up where you were down, bring you down where you were up, and get you where you need to be. So
is there anything addictive at all about it, considering that it gives you those feel-good feelings, whatever? Like, does it, I don't know, is there any sort of...
Not that I've found.
Insert disclaimer here.
Yeah, insert disclaimer. Not that I've found. I mean, there aren't a lot of official studies on it. There have been some, but the funding is not there. I will say technically it's still federally illegal, but on the state level it's legal, and that's why you can buy it. 47 out of 50 states have made it legal. So federally it's still illegal, and that's why they can't get funding.
But hasn't the FDA approved some CBD products?
The FDA is approving a CBD drug.
So they're approving legal drug. Yeah, that makes...
Yeah, the federal government also has a patent on
I think the answer is more government.
Clearly.
I have clearly not gotten any CBD oil from the grocery store.
Or
well, your guys' behaviors are offending me, so I think it should be against the law.
My big question is if once you begin going down this road of CBD oil, like once you have like the receipt in hand, do you go home and then there's tie-dyed shirts in your closet?
You get one free.
Dude, I came home and all my shirts were tie-dyed.
They were all bundled up. You're like, why are you putting rubber bands in my shirts?
My F-250 was suddenly a Volkswagen. It was so...
Nice.
So, Joni, you have purchased some. Have you had personal effects?
Are you supposed to say that?
She has not. She may have somehow acquired some.
Federally illegal.
Okay, whatever. She got.
You're going to get them in trouble.
No, it is legal. It is legal to purchase at a state level. Yeah, we've actually had some CBD salve that we've had for
We put in front of the camera for all
6
those.
years. And we didn't use it a whole lot. And it just kind of sat around, and then we got back into it.
It was your friend at work whose feet were
Yeah,
like,
my friend told me how much it changed her life.
the
I'm
one
like,
who
well, maybe I
almost
should
cried.
pull that bottle out of the cupboard and try it again. And we've been trying it like with sore muscles and sore necks, and it's amazing. It's honestly really impressive.
It's scary good.
It's scary impressive.
No, this is 1.3 ounces. This was a $50 bottle.
Mm.
Oh wow.
So, and we're part of an MLM that sells it.
Okay.
But Canaway.
Canaway. It's the oldest direct marketing for CBD oil that's been around. They're a really, actually, they're in the top 10 of companies. They're like 20 to 50 million in sales that they're doing right now.
Part of the problem is quality control.
Yeah.
It's no different than getting off-brand vitamin C, like versus the higher end vitamin. Like any vitamins, any minerals supplements that you get, you can have cheap versions.
Mm-hmm.
Highly diluted or expired crap. I mean, some of this stuff has a shelf life as far as its potency and everything like that. And so CBD is the same thing. It's going to the local video store and getting CBD or the grocery store versus a company that's direct order and stuff like that. You're going to get a quality difference.
So some of the things you want to look for if you're interested in buying it is you want to look for definitely a percentage. You want to know how much CBD is in what you're getting. And often it'll be like, I just ordered some that was 1,000 milliliters per 4 ounces. So that equates to about 30 milliliters per serving, which is about, like I said, there's no standard serving size. There's no standard anything right now, but that's what a lot of people take. So you want to know what's in it. You don't want to go just by off the name. And you want to know how it was made because there's different kinds. Some use ethanol to extract it from the plant, and with that you're getting more toxins. The good kinds are CO2 extracted, so it's a very clean, very earth-friendly process that won't have any added toxins to it. So you want to know your brand, you want to know where it comes from. I don't think just buying something in a store is going to hurt you, but they've done tests, they've bought stuff from different stores, and some have hardly any CBD.
It won't hurt you, just waste your money.
Yeah, you
So
hurt
hurt
Your
you.
pocketbook.
This has been cut with pure olive oil, I can tell.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
So yeah. This I will say for myself. So I hurt my neck, man, what was that, 10 years ago now, 11 years ago? I woke up one morning with like a massive kink in my neck, and basically over time I realized I was at a herniated disc and a fused T1 and T2 vertebrae. And I've been working on a chiropractor, all that stuff, but there was just always this kind of constant ache. And I started to use this stuff, and then I also did, you know what? I should do that as my product. I also started doing magnets with Nikken magnets and taping those on either side of my spine. And between the two, this was the immediate pain relief, and then the magnets was the long-term, more healing. But yeah, this stuff is like, it blows my mind. If I'm a little sore, it's maybe 5 minutes. I mean, it puts Ben Gay to shame.
And that's the thing why I think it's so popular right now, honestly, because it works. You can look up reviews for so many products and they're all 5 stars. People are finding something that works for them. People are getting off. People that are addicted to opioids are getting off of them. People that have been suffering from depression and nothing else works, they're getting off of those meds and just going to something natural. I keep hearing testimony after testimony.
I'm sure the pharmaceutical industry will be on this
that's what concerned me, to be honest, was that when it starts getting regulated and then starts getting outlawed because it is a natural substitute to pharmaceutical drugs, is a concern. I did have the thought, I'm like, should I just be buying this stuff up? Is it going to become outlawed?
Contraband?
Yeah.
Right.
Can the oil go rancid?
I haven't read anything about that. So I don't know.
I had wanted to kind of talk about our beloved Taylor Swift. If you love her, I don't know.
Shake it off.
So recently in the news, she's made headlines again for writing a very lengthy letter on
About her boyfriend she just broke up with.
Twitter.
Oh.
No,
No, that was her last song.
that's all her
It's
songs.
every other
And the
night.
one before that.
But no, basically, so when she was a budding artist, she signed a record label and basically signed all of her music and her rights to this record company. She's not the only artist who's had this fate. There are many artists who have signed contracts and then had to fulfill these contracts. But the thing that's been in the news is that this record label has sold her digitally mastered rights to her music and sold it to someone else who coincidentally she's feuding with, and he sounds like a wonderful man. Not. But basically, so she was upset because she wasn't given the chance to buy her music, to buy her art, to buy something that she has created. Much like many other artists that fall into her category, she just has a bigger platform to kind of share her disdain. And so I thought that was really interesting as we move into an age where many people are becoming their own creators of content, and it's just out there. And anyone can really snatch up your stuff and kind of just take it as your own. And so she's kind of led the way. She fought against like Apple with her rights and stuff. And so I just thought it was an interesting to bring up, and that's really all I've got, unless somebody wants to chime in on that.
I think it's cool that a big artist is taking a stand in the sense that like a lot of the little artists that are in these streaming platforms just they get the raw deal, or and if they were to protest, nobody cares. So to have somebody big that's doing it, that's cool. The angle that interests me on it is how do you manage those digital rights going forward, and at risk of sounding like a broken record, blockchain. Like I know of at least a project that's working on specifically managing digital artists' rights. So
Definitely.
that's one way to do it. And then beyond that, I think about how, if you were to think about this as a different medium, like say like a painter, for example, like how is it any different when a painter, basically gets a contract to produce art and then produces the art, fulfills the contract? Is it a surprise then that they don't have a chance to buy the art back, or am I just looking at it really cynically?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing, but it's the value that our culture puts on music versus paintings. And there's even, paintings that have like, this is print 1 out of 235 or whatever. And so that happens, but mostly people are paying the money that is valued of that painting. Whereas music, I mean, how many times have you downloaded something illegally or given someone a burned CD?
Never.
I mean, never, but those things happen.
What's a burn CD?
Well, kids.
That's what I put my home photos on, right?
Mm.
Okay.
If you go into digital rights, I mean, you have to also include video games, software, and then you just have to, like, to be honest, the U.S. has 5% of the world's population. And most of this is occurring in Asia, India, China, where, I mean, if you haven't ever purchased a Chinese bootleg copy of something for a third of the price, then kudos to you. I'm just saying that my copy of Band of Brothers does have Chinese writing on the front, and I didn't know that when I bought it. So and I was like, "Oh,
they
that's
try
why
and
it was
play
so
it
cheap."
off though as
Right? Yeah,
a regular copy.
yeah. So I got it on eBay, and shame on me, but I was
That's
like,
what I was gonna ask, where?
so cheap. Yeah, that was years ago. But point being is like the digital rights discussion is as content producers ourselves. Like it's that like, well, we would really love it if Joe Rogan took and he could take it for free, right? And he could take a segment of our podcast and throw it on his podcast, and we would love him for it. But then if somebody smaller than us did it, we'd want them to pay us, and it's like, so there's this business component to it that makes Taylor Swift compared to Bob the guitar player kind of, it's a very broad and challenging discussion. What are you
going
laughing
on?
at?
What is
You did not hear that? Oh my god.
The apocalypse has begun at our house.
Was that lightning?
thunder?
Oh my gosh.
The dog is instantly in the lap.
So, Taylor Swift versus Bob the guitar player, it makes it a challenging discussion to have on a principled level. Because Taylor Swift's going to have her great points, and so is Bob the guitar player. And Spotify and Apple Music and Google Play are going to have their points, and so is the guy who bought Taylor Swift's stuff. So it becomes a very challenging conversation that to create a set of principles for an entire industry is, I think, in this day and age, for us to still not have some of those answers, I think is evidence of just how challenging of a question it presents. And, at this point, it is kind of been that the market demands and the market decides, and it's, each artist fends for themselves. And I've got a few songs that if I ever do get around putting them on Spotify, I'll appreciate whatever I can get. Versus Taylor Swift, that is her living. That is, she could buy that third house if she could get a little bit more money. It matters to her on a different level. And it is easy to be cynical and be like, all right, 2 houses is enough for you, Taylor. It's seriously, I'm all for capitalism and all that stuff and its purity.
Well, and I don't even think that's her motivating drive. It's her heart and soul were put into this music and this work, and she doesn't own it. And I think, for the smaller artists, there's probably a component, like if I was getting paid for this, then maybe I might be able to make rent or go on another tour bus or whatever. But I think that's what pulls on my heartstrings as well, is as a creator, and this is part of me and I'm sharing it with you. And for someone else to be like, well, you know what, today I'm going to take that and I'm going to put a blue screen on it instead of a green screen, or I'm going to strip it down and manipulate it to make it be something that it wasn't originally intended. Like, that's the source of the controversy for her, at least.
Wasn't she agreeing to, in all her contracts and everything? I mean, isn't that part of the agreement that she signed up for, though?
I mean, when you're 15, yeah. But when you're 15 and a nobody, and then all of a sudden you become somebody and you have...
I mean, it's part of the music industry, though, which, to Matt's point, he was saying, I think it ties into where everything's going, that it's going to become decentralized. You talked about blockchain. That's where every major industry is going. That's where we're headed. So I believe, her speaking up is probably part of that process. But, not that I think she should have the right to her own art. When you talked about it being changed and distorted, I'm like, yeah, that would be a real bummer to see something you worked on. That would be rough. But at the same time, I see their point. Like, you're signing all these contracts and you're agreeing to all this, and you may not know what the full effect of those agreements are when you're 15 or when you're starting. But
well, it's someone on a business side, it's what if she didn't make it big?
Right.
Well,
right.
she wasn't originally told that we just want your music, your songwriting talent. We don't really want you singing. And she said, well, listen here, you want my songs, you get my face. And so
which, good for her, but if she didn't make it big, that record label take all the risk, and they've taken the risk on hundreds of artists.
Yeah.
You get 1 or 2 that make it. And then those 1 or 2 that make it say, you screwed me over. And the record label's like, what? Like, no. It's called business, and we've lost millions of dollars on these 298 artists out of 300.
Would it change at all if I took Taylor Swift's out of it and said, like, Kelly Clarkson was in the same position, Weezer was in the same position?
Metallica. The thing is though,
Radiohead.
That is the
no, it's not because I like Taylor Swift.
I'm just saying.
That's the nature of the music industry. You create a product that people want to buy or want to listen to, and unless you can put the quality behind recording it and all that stuff, all the A to B that the artist does not handle, that is the responsibility of the recording company. Unless they can put that out, then they have to sign that contract. And that's the idea behind it. We will provide the quality recording, we'll provide the quality this or that, so on and so forth. You provide the art side of it, and that's the contract.
Well, and all these contracts were made so long ago, and the music industry has changed leaps and
Oh
bounds.
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Streaming
you still-
platforms have changed everything.
Yeah, and it's a cutthroat business as it is.
So I mean, I on one hand I understand her, but on the other hand, like you have the Medici family in Venice that would pay all these artists to make the beautiful
The famous art.
famous art, Michelangelo or whoever, and they weren't like sitting there, oh, I can't believe that they sold that painting to so and so. Oh, what a jerk! No, it's gone out the door. They paid me. I gave them the painting. Praise Jesus. We all got some money.
I brought up the painting thing just real quick. Earlier, like I don't know if a lot of people realize how sometimes the art industry works. That people will buy like collections from somebody and literally put it in a filing cabinet, close the door, and then wait. Like
True.
that's it.
I think the biggest beef here was that she, if I gathered this correctly, she doesn't like the guy that bought it, right?
Yes, he's.
And she's peeved that her recording company or whatever did not let her
Give her the opportunity to repurpose.
buy her stuff.
And that is a bit
that's
silly.
the problem. That's
Right.
them being a jerk. That's just
And
stupid.
I don't hear her complaining about them selling it as much as they didn't give an opportunity for her to be the one to buy it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that
now
I think is absolutely, that's a little bit more towards crony capitalism, and the stuff that I can't stand about broken capitalism is you don't go to market. You have, I'll
Trade
scratch your
behind
back,
the
you
scenes.
scratch mine.
Yeah.
And then other people get screwed and the market doesn't get to speak. So in that sense, absolutely, maybe she would have paid double, and the record label is an idiot. And so that absolutely, like the fact that they didn't give her a chance, that's where the thing is. It's about who owns the art and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it's interesting. If you guys
that's
remember
the
Pharma Bro, like Martin Scarelli, and he bought the Wu-Tang album and then like never let anybody listen to it.
I think that happened to Michael Jackson too, or some other. It was the Beatles. I don't know.
Michael Jackson bought a lot of.
Yeah, Michael
Beatles
Jackson
stuff.
owned like Beatles, Elvis. Like that's where most of his money came from.
Really? Wow.
Who owns it now? I wonder.
I think it's his
Content.
estate. That's why there's such a big deal a couple years ago about his estate.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Cool.
Yeah, I heard that Michael Jackson, like, it was the Beatles, Elvis, Beach Boys, like some
A
of
lot
the
of the
big
big
names. Like he bought
classics.
all their music.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Good for him, King of Pop.
Brilliant, right?
Well, are we ready to transition into the final phase of this thing? Roll through some cool products that we've come across.
Let's do it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Wrong face.
Do.
Do like Baby
Um,
Shark. Do, do,
No,
Don't
do not.
start that.
Too
I
late.
think you pretty much just ruined everything right there.
This
Oh, you're
podcast
fine.
has to be re-recorded now.
Now, can somebody buy the rights to Baby Shark and bury them?
Well, that'd be neat.
It's literally like a early childhood song, kind of like
Son of a gun.
ABCs. Like, I don't know.
That one in Johnny, Yes Papa
Okay.
song.
Oh
Johnny,
my
Johnny.
gosh. Your kids sing that song too?
No, not our
they
kids.
watch it.
It's just Micaiah.
She's
All
not a
right.
kid?
Please,
Well, yes, I'm saying like not all of them. Like, she
Noted.
can't sing
No
yet.
kids,
so.
just Micaiah, the non-child.
Was anybody ready to rock out first their product? I got something, whatever.
Were we just, I assume we were going in the traditional order
All right.
of fashion.
What's so you're starting?
Sure.
Okay.
I have this fabulous gemstone. It's called a, what is it? This fancy title is scrolling up, sorry.
That's
It's
pretty cool.
basically a chakra stone. And so there's 7 different stones merged together, and they align with the 7 chakras. And so I'm just going to read them off, and I'm not going to pretend to know them all. So there's quartz, sodalite, calcite, I hope I said that right, jasper, amethyst. And so I've used it in my meditation purposes, and I've carried it around town when I feel like I need to use it, and it's pretty cool and awesome. I originally purchased it for my sister, but sorry, sister, it's mine. So maybe I'll purchase it through the link that will be linked
If
below.
you're originally getting it for your sister, where do you usually carry that thing? I don't ever see you pull it out at the top of the blouse there.
That's why I said, sorry, sister, it's mine. I guess I could sage it, but it's mine. But that's what I got.
Cool.
Well, for me, I'm next, yeah.
Yes.
I'm always about books, and this one, The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. Okay.
It's not Raymond Charles Barkley, but
no, Barker, like Bob Barker.
like the sage of India.
So it's an older book. It was produced published in 1968. And anyone who knows me, I love Thomas Troward and Don Miguel Ruiz, who's so Thomas Troward. He's from the late 1800s, early 1900s, long gone. He had a book called Creative Process in the Individual, The Law and the Word. I've read all of his stuff. And then Miguel Ruiz, more modern, he's still alive, wrote The Four Agreements, The Fifth Agreement, Voice of Knowledge, and a whole bunch of Toltec Wisdom series. Those two have been the most influential authors in my life outside of the Bible. And this book came across to me just very recently through a friend and through quote-unquote happenstance, if you will. And it is essentially, if Thomas Troward and Miguel Ruiz had a baby, it's this book. Because it's literally Miguel Ruiz's ideas in Thomas Troward's language, and it is blowing my mind. So I'm not even halfway through it, and I'm just like loving every bit of it. So I have to share. I read quite a bit, and so this being a podcast about information and primers, I find books to be highly priming. So.
Well, we kind of already touched on my product, which was our CBD salve that we've tried and really loved. And I ordered some oil to start taking internally, and it's not going to be here for 2 days. I was so disappointed. I was really hoping it was going to make it here so I could try it for this episode, but it didn't. But it's already something that I really believe in. The Canaway Company, I did a lot of research into them and how they make their product and the products they put out, and really believe in them. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, I forgot to prepare a product, but I suddenly thought of it because I just got it yesterday. It is a funny-looking hanger.
Torture device?
It's meant to like dry clothes,
Punish children.
but I use it to hang pants because you can. They make pants hangers, and they're just like, I don't know, like maybe 8 hangers on one or something, 4 to 8, something like that. This has 10, and it all hangs in one straight line, so I can access all of pants and tank tops. You can access all of them really easily. I personally love hanging my stuff a lot better than sticking it in drawers because I can see it and get to it easier. And so this just takes up less space in the closet, I feel like, and I love it. That is all. David, you said you had nothing to
I have nothing. I forgot.
I got you, bro. I got 2. And I'll roll with the one that kind of rolls with Joni's a little bit. And it's Christopher's Complete Tissue and Bone Tincture. And really cool thing about this is it's based around, it's got a variety of things in it, but it's got comfrey in it. And the stories, I can do this with the camera. Cool thing about it is I had picked it up just before our son just bailed hard on his bike, gave himself a concussion, and like his face was pretty rowdy, like swollen, and
I took pictures.
Yeah, and we applied this stuff pretty religiously from that evening forward, and his face looked amazing within 2 days.
Yeah, I didn't take a picture of that, unfortunately, but his face cleared up so fast.
Like, it didn't bring his tooth back, but
No.
and it wasn't my original product for today. I have a different one. The reason that I thought about it for today is because I was balling out hard yesterday for a end of the softball season party for our kiddos, and just laid out in left field and totally bashed my knees up. So I was using it today. Big fan of it. And then the other thing, also health related, if you've ever dealt with plantar fascia issues, since I've become more active, I had about 14 years of knee pain that I recently got over about a year ago, and so I've kind of rediscovered sports. I'm having a time of my life out in the fields. That's a side effect is that parts of my body are kind of playing catch up to all the sudden activity boost. And if you don't know what your plantar fascia is, or you've ever never heard of plantar fasciitis, it's a strip of muscle that goes on the arch of your foot. And depending on maybe your calves are tight, or maybe just the activity you're doing, the way you're built, predisposed, whatever, it gets really fired up, inflamed, and painful. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you step out of bed, and you're like, why does it feel like my foot's broken right now? Like, I felt totally fine a second ago, and now I'm in super big pain. There's, you definitely want to spend time, working the muscles and preparing them and stretching your calves and whatnot. But last year I was able to get rid of it real quickly with just a shoe insert, and that worked pretty well. So I busted out those shoe inserts right away this year, and wasn't kind of getting the job done. I went ahead and I think maybe I was complaining about plantar fasciitis, and my phone heard me, so Facebook's like, hey, here's some ads. And,
there's an episode.
So I was like, I'm not going to that ad, but I'll go look this stuff up and I found some on Amazon. And 2 days later, I threw in my shoe. Almost immediately felt amazing. A compression sleeve is going to kind of squeeze things together a little bit. So it's squeezing my arch. You can sleep with them. You can wear them in any set of shoes, which is what I really like about it. The reason I was kind of bummed about the insoles is that they really stank. And I didn't want to put them in my new shoes. So I was able just to slide these guys in and out, whatever. And big fan of what they've done for me so far. Kind of almost immediate pain relief. So
I'm confused about how that works. You put it around your foot, around the shoe?
Yeah, so basically,
The arch.
when you're ordering it, you kind of measure the circumference of the middle of your foot, and then you get your sleeve and you slide it on there, and it's a snug fit. Like, it shouldn't be cutting off circulation or anything like that. And you don't really even notice them for the most part. If you have shoes on, especially, you won't. If you have, I wear ankle socks a lot, and so I occasionally have the feeling like the back of the sock is coming off is what it feels like, but it's not. It's just that this is nice and tight around the middle of my foot.
Okay.
And they provide relief. I feel fantastic with these things. So and I'm working hard. Like, I'm working with kids, for an hour and a half, Monday through Friday. We are doing speed training, agility training, strength training. Like, we are running the gamut. So this 35-year-old me is getting it. So putting those plantar fascia to the test, and this is really helping me out. That said, I think that's it for mostly monthly here. If you haven't had a chance to find our social media pages, you can do that by going to looking up Epoch Ideas on the social medias. Please, it helps us out so much. Whether you are either finding things on our website, theepoch.org, and donating through your MP3 selections there, or maybe I don't know, maybe just finding a way to donate. Or these products. Oh, when you buy these products too, probably should mention, we are setting up these links so that when you order these things, we're getting a cut. We're getting a kickback. You're helping us out. You're supporting the show by buying some cool products that we really believe in. Like, we are, nobody's saying, coming to us and saying, hey, you guys, we'll pay you to endorse this product. No, we're just hawking goods that we really believe in right now that are really cool to us. So purchasing through those affiliate links are huge. And if you can't, you don't have the coin right now, please just subscribe, share, just kind of raise our visibility, get us out to your friends and whatnot. We'd really appreciate it.
And how do you spell Epoch, by the way?
EPOCH.
Yes. There we go. Good job.
Oh, thanks, man. That's, I feel like if all challenges in life were that easy, I would be at cloud nine.
And we have a Patreon page too. So if you want to,
Tell us about it.
we have
We put really cool outtakes of us being goofballs.
that's right.
Behind the scenes.
Those are outtakes. That's not the actual show. Because I feel like
It is a show.
they could just get better.
Most of the time. Yes.
And there's also outside discussions that happen. Pre-show, post-show,
Oh, that's true.
All the shows.
things we're talking about, thinking about. All that stuff is over on Patreon. You can access it through our site.
If you want us to talk about something, you can also hit us up in the same way.
There's different levels that you can hit on there and access different rewards, benefits, whatever you want to call them.
Awesome. That sounds like a great deal.
It is. It's a great deal.
Well, we just love providing value here, so we hope that you found some value in this last hour of Mostly Monthly. Thanks for joining us, and looking forward to having you hear us next time.
There we go.
All right.
Well said.
Yes.